All right. Well, hello, hello, hello. We're back, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm so super duper excited that you have an opportunity to join us for day number 3 of Industry Week. This conversation is going to be so powerful. It's going to be so engaging and it's going to be so enlightening. So, what I want you to do is go ahead and drop 777 in the chat if you guys can hear me. If you're watching me live, right, let me know you can hear me first by dropping sevens in the chat, right? 777 in the chat if you can hear me well right now. I want to make sure the audio is good. I want to make sure you guys can see us well. I'm excited about the information that you guys are going to receive. And then the next thing I want you to do is if you are watching live right now, just drop 111s in the chat. I know some people are going to watch the replay, but I want to know who's present with us in this moment. Who's watching live, drop ones in the chat. And if you happen to see it on a replay, just drop twos in the chat so that we can still make sure that we're connecting and engaging with each and every person. Because once again, this information is going to be absolutely powerful. Listen, take a moment, drop your cities, your states, your countries, your continents in the chat. I love to know who our audience is, where you're connecting from, and how we can support you more in your region. So wherever in the world you are, drop your cities, drop your states, drop your countries in the chat so we can shout you guys out and highlight you for being on with us tonight. The final thing that I want you to do before we get started, I know that there are so many people that really want to have this conversation that may not know that we are here. If you are a current member of Rich University, make sure you're taking this time right now to share it out. Share it to your communities. Share it to your own Facebook page. And if you have your link should actually be in the caption. So when a person decides that they want to get started, because they're definitely going to want to get started with us tonight, you want to make sure that they can get started with you. So wherever you are, you should have your phone up and sharing. You may even want to share it to groups that you're a part of. Even family groups are going to be really able to gain value from this information that you're going to hear tonight. So make sure that you're taking a moment to share it to your page, incorporate your link. So when those of your audience members that are ready to get started, they can actually click your link and get started with you. With that being said, I'm so excited about Industry Week. Industry Week is one of our most requested campaigns that we've done over the years. People love that we get to have some dialogue, candid conversation about different industries. Tonight, we're going to be focused on the education industries, where we have teachers and administrators that's going to be talking about why they decided to get involved in AI and cryptocurrency, and why you should be involved as well, how our world is changing. And we're going to even have some conversation around current news and things that are happening that are affecting the decisions and the things that we do today. If you're ready, somebody comment, I'm ready in the chat right now. If you're ready for this conversation, if you're ready to have this dialogue, and more important, if you're ready to win, just comment, I'm ready right now in the chat. I want to say welcome to all of those of you that are here from Facebook, as well as those of you that are here from YouTube. Is a lot of people that are on right now from YouTube. We see you, YouTube. YouTube is coming in strong. Okay. We see you guys here from YouTube. I see you. Toronto is in the house as well. We see you, Toronto. We see you, Tallahassee, Florida is in the house as well. Continue to drop your cities, your states, your countries, and your continents in the chat. We love shouting you guys out. So with that part being said, let's dive straight into this conversation tonight. If I were you, depending on where you are, I will pull out a pen, I will pull out a notepad, because you're going to have some questions and you're definitely going to want to take down some copious notes. My name is Ambassador Dr. Chyna Bethley. I am the founder of Rich University. We are a faith-based accredited institution, and we have the luxury, the privilege, and the honor to help women of color and minorities to normalize this wealth conversation. So we talk about these things a lot. We educate ourselves about things that's going on, and we have a non-biased approach to what's happening inside of these financial markets. We want to make sure that we are not being manipulated by other people's opinion that causes us to miss out on opportunities like being at the forefront of the largest wealth transfer of our time. So with that being said, I'm excited to introduce you to some of our special guests that are going to be on talking about their background in education. If you know any teachers, anybody that's in administration, if you're in any groups where there's teachers, go ahead and bless them right now. Just be a blessing to them and share this information in the group, because they're going to hear from some educators and teachers and administrators who are now inside of this space. And I believe it's going to really connect some dots. So with that part being said, I'm going to go over to the boss chick, Latasha Wilson, that we're going to have some candid conversation about why she saw fit to get involved in this industry as an educator. Hey, Latasha, how are you, Queen?
I am phenomenal. How you doing, Dr. Chyna Bethley?
I'm doing amazing, and you look amazing. You look absolutely incredible. It's always beautiful to see rising and shining, and you're definitely doing your thing. So come on in and tell the listeners a little bit about you, who you are, and a little bit about your background before we segue into the conversation about AI and cryptocurrency.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Rich University's Industry Week. I am Latasha Wilson, also known as the Boss Chick. I was an educator. Well, I'm still an educator just outside of the classroom. Educated 14 years in the classroom, 7 years in Detroit, as well as 7 years when I relocated to Atlanta, Georgia. Absolutely love the children. But guys, you know, it could get stressful when you don't have the support, the administrative support, when you lack supplies, when your school lacks the funding and all of those kinds of things, you know. And I had some health challenges that I had to handle, going back and forth to the doctor, and had to make a decision. You know, it was so much more that I wanted to do anyway that I had sat on the back burner because of a job, right? How many of you can relate out there? It's nothing wrong with having a job, but it's a problem if you only have a job, okay? And tonight I want you to tune in, because you're going to hear some amazing information that changed my life. They gave me more resources to tap into that I knew nothing about. So here it is. I went to college, not 4 years, 5 years for my bachelor's, and then another 2 years for my master's degree. And I just thank God for all the education. But at the end of the day, those degrees are sitting on my shelf right now, right? And here it is. I met Dr. Chyna some years ago, over a decade. I know she's still 21, as she likes to say. Over a decade ago. And she introduced me to this space. The information that you're about to hear tonight changed my life. Not only was I able to fire my boss after teaching in the school district for 14 years, I walked away from $60,000 that I was making annually to be able to make that plus some. I'll just say past results doesn't guarantee future profits, but I was able to make that way sooner than 12 months. Okay, going to a job every single day. I opened my mindset. And so you have to have a mind shift on this call tonight. The person who invited you, they really thought enough to not leave you behind, because the information tonight opened so many of our eyes years ago. I'm going in 9 years now with this particular company, with this community, Rich University, y'all. It has changed my life. Now I am full-time serial entrepreneur, full-time investor, doing some renovations right now to my basement that I didn't have to pull the funds out of my own pocket, right? I didn't have to use my principal money. I'm able to use the residual. Can you say residual? Y'all, come on, snap, clap it up in the chat. I'm just excited to be here. Thank you again, Dr. Chyna, and your husband, Dr. Logic Mix, for just bringing me to this community and showing me that there are so many other ways. And Donald Trump, number 47, I mean, do we need to talk about that yet?
You know what? I love that. We definitely gonna segue into it. Let's get into the conversation deep, because I think it's very important that educators are on. First of all, I want to say God is so amazing. Glory to his name. And this is why I believe that it's so important that we don't miss out on divine connections, right? Sometimes we miss out on opportunities because it's good to be laser focused. It's very good to be laser focused. It's better though to make sure that you're sensitive to the Spirit of God, so that when Holy Spirit speaks to you, you don't miss out on him saying, turn here. Sometimes sometimes he gave you an assignment to do something, you go do it, but you got to keep listening to him during that assignment, because I thank God Boss Chick and I were able to reconnect and was able to be inside of a space now that we get to impact so many people, travel around the world, and have a conversation that we are making attractive and fun, so our community is not left out of this wealth transfer. So I want to say congratulations to you, Boss Chick, for all of your success, but now being able to still take the gift that God has given you to teach, but no longer behind the classroom walls. And now even able to impact children even the more with your nonprofit organization and some of the other things that you've been able to do over the past few years. So with that being said, yeah, let's talk about some of the things that's happening in our world today as it relates to the economy. You know, there's a lot of conversation going on. And I know as we talk about the current president, we are probably taught to be emotional and sensationalized about, you know, race. I believe we have a bigger challenge right now. I believe that we have missed out on great opportunities because we were blindsided by race wars and things like that. Not that it's not real, not that it doesn't have its place, but we're at the forefront of the largest wealth transfer of our time.
Absolutely.
I believe that we're not necessarily dealing with as much of race as we are dealing with class. And you are going to need money, a lot of it, and you are going to need it fast. So let's talk about some of the things that's happening in current news around cryptocurrency and why you, Boss Chick, as an educator, someone who is well educated with multiple degrees, made a decision to get inside this space. And now we're seeing that it's really paying off because the world is now catching up to what's happening. So let's get into that conversation about what's actually happening with the current president.
Absolutely. Well, Trump, he signed an order, guys. Do you hear me? Screenshot this. Do your due diligence, okay? But we know that number 47, he has been picking up that pen like never before. But he signed an executive order to create U.S. Bitcoin reserve. Wow. And they already have purchased a ton of Bitcoin just for them at the White House, okay? Let me read a little bit more. The U.S. established strategic Bitcoin reserve. U.S. President Trump signed an executive order to establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve made up of an estimated 200,000 forfeited Bitcoin already owned by the federal government and a digital asset stockpile. So, baby, they are stacking their coins. Hello? Hint, hint, cool, cool. It is time for you to stop sitting on the sidelines, watching, and still figuring out, like, is it real? Honey, it is here to stay. We've been talking about this. Like I said, I've been in this space for 8+ years now. Trump is not playing. And you know he may do some things that we don't agree with. But one thing when it comes to business, he's brilliant minded as well, okay? So Trump signs this executive order to establish government Bitcoin reserve. Y'all, decades ago, gold was the thing. Then we moved from gold to the fiat dollar. Now we are transitioning to cryptocurrency. If you do not have a crypto wallet, if you do not have any crypto coins saved up to the side, you need to get with myself, the person who invited you to this call. You need to ask them, how can I get this wallet? I don't want to be left behind. I need to be in front of the economy and not behind the economy. So guys, I'm excited because this space and this community that we offer, it is an educational platform. And I wouldn't be a part of anything if I'm not learning. Iron sharpens iron. And I want to be in rooms where people are making way more than what I'm making so that I can latch on and learn and go higher and higher. So you are in the right place if you're like me. If you are ready to go higher in your finances, if you don't want to just be comfortable, but you want to be well off and you want to leave a legacy for your family, for your children's children, this is the place to be. And
absolutely. We are really just getting started. One of the things that I say, being in this space nearly a decade, get her, please, Jay. One of the things that I say, being in this space nearly a decade, when we first started talking about Bitcoin, I was just talking to my COO about this earlier. We were going through some of the campaigns that we're preparing to release. And we were looking at some things with Facebook. And she was like, what actually happened with your account? I said, well, when I started talking about Bitcoin, they wasn't ready for it yet. I created a song called Bitcoin Mommy in 2020 to educate while entertaining our community so that we were not left out of this conversation. The rooms that I was entering in, many times I was the only woman, right? Sometimes I was the only Black person in the room. And so I knew that something was happening. I didn't have to understand it all. I just had to hear the voice of the Lord, trust it, and just move. And that's what some of you are going to have to do in this current reality, because if you're looking to understand everything and for everything to make sense to you, by the time it makes sense for you, it's absolutely too late. So it's important that you decide to get in a position. Now, fast forward, the world is ready. They're looking. People are talking about it. Major companies and countries are now starting to move large amounts of money into cryptocurrency. Obviously, we're looking at it right now as what the United States of America is doing. They're now competing to see who's going to be the cryptocurrency capital of the world. And I get it. Some of you may be saying, well, that's world news. What does that have to do with me and my family? Well, you, for the first time, perhaps in your lifetime, have an opportunity to get on the right side of the wealth transfer. The number one thing that I believe everybody that's watching needs right now, type it in the chat, is community. Because if you're a part of a community that has access to this type of education and knowledge that can put you in a position, you don't need $90,000 to get a whole Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not the only cryptocurrency that's going to really benefit in this economic boom that we're in right now. Regardless of how you feel about the current president, you better not on the other side of this not get no wealth from it. You better learn how to play the game. And that's where Rich University comes in at, because we're going to show you the hidden wealth secrets so that you don't miss out on being on the right side of this wealth transfer. So like Latasha, the boss chick, said, get back with whoever invited you here. Maybe you see this on their page. We have other speakers that's going to come up, but don't wait. Don't delay. Don't wait until Bitcoin goes to $200,000 a coin to talk about you wish you would have got in when it was $90,000 a coin. There are some cryptocurrencies right now with our crypto challenge that we have happening inside of Rich University privately that are $2. And guess what we did? We gave them a strategy of how they can accumulate this asset, set it and forget it. So the next time it's at an all-time high of even $100, they know that they got in at $2. So don't sit on the sideline making excuses, saying what you don't understand. Rich University is here so not only that you can learn, but that you can earn big inside of this space. So listen, boss chick, I want to say thank you. Any final remarks before we bring up the next speaker?
I am just excited to, partner with those who make the right decision on tonight, because again, we want to move from the left side of that cash flow quadrant to the right side. Guys, I'll see you at the top. Let's go. Thank you for having me.
Let's grow. I'm so excited. Thanks so much for being on, Queen. You added so much value here tonight. Thank you so much. God bless you, Queen. Wow. Listen, this conversation is going to get real spicy. If you have not shared it out, yes, I see the flames and the fire coming through. Okay, it's getting real spicy. If you have not invited anyone you know, you love, you trust to this conversation, you're really doing a major disservice. We're going to be breaking down what group economics look like in 2025. Some of the things that people turned their noses up at many years ago is now the things that people are saying, this is what we need. We need to come together as a group, right? And make sure that our money is cyclical and that we're doing things together, leveraging credible platforms, leveraging systems and services that's been around as long as we have, saying the same message. We've been around. Once again, I've been a part of this space nearly a decade. The platform that I'm going to introduce to you has been around for 12 solid years, that has created so many success stories already. So our reputation is sound and it is solid. So I'm really excited that you guys have an opportunity to see. So what I want to do now is I want to go over to Myrlande Evans out of NYC, another educator that made an educated decision to get started with us. And you should too. So hey, Myrlande, thanks so much for being on with us tonight. How are you doing, Queen?
I am well. Thank you so much, Dr. Chyna. How are you doing today?
Fantastic, excited, looking at all the things that's happening in the news. And I'm grateful that I did not lean on my own understanding and trust God to open up these doors. Sometimes our obedience is not just for us, but it's for those that are also connected to us. And so I'm excited tonight, Myrlande. How are you feeling?
I'm amazing. And thank you so much. I am honored to be here tonight representing the educators from NYC. I'm representing New York City. And I'm just here tonight to just share this amazing space. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak as part of this panel on tonight. And I just want to share how I got started in this space. Back in 2020, during the pandemic, everybody was home, and it was around the time where there was a lot of buzz about cryptocurrency at that time. There was also a lot of buzz about GameStop. Remember that GameStop scandal where everybody was running to buy that stock?
Yes.
So that is the time that my ears started, waving up like, what's all of this talk about, stocks and crypto? I really wanted to be a part of something where I knew exactly what I was doing and not just guessing in the dark and making decisions and then, being upset with myself when I realized I had made a huge mistake. So someone that I know invited me to a call similar to this. And I was intrigued because coming from a background in education and working with students in the New York City School District, I would not want to learn from a community where it was just you're learning and picking pieces up from here, there, and everywhere.
Sure.
I decided to partner up with the #1 e-learning platform because how dare I, as an educator, learn from anywhere else? But the partnership with the Eovia as well as the rich university community. So I have a background. I have 2 bachelor's degrees as well as a master's degree. So I saw it fit to make sure that I got equipped with the information that was necessary for me. When I first got started in the space, I knew nothing about finance, nothing about financial literacy, but I saw it fit to make sure that I was coupled with a community such as Rich University and people that really knew what they were doing. And shout out to my mentor, Latasha, the boss chick, for sharing how this community has been amazing for her as well as many of us connected here in this space. And so I just wanted to make sure that I was a part of something. People were learning, not only learning, but being able to earn. I have so many things that I can thank the Rich University community for. From being able to pass funded challenges, using other people's money, from developing my own Etsy store, from being able to be a part of this community and being a leader in this community and teaching others how to utilize our scanners and being recognized in this space by being able to master one of our AI banking scanners.
Wow, that's powerful.
For the scanners that we have here in our community. So piggybacking on the whole AI conversation, I think it's so important that we get with the times. We make sure that we understand what is happening because the world is changing. And no matter if we agree with what is happening or we understand what is happening or not, we need to make sure that we're equipping ourselves with the right type of information. So I'm just excited to be here. I'm excited about the Rich University community and what we're doing and what we're all a part of. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. I'm excited as well for you. Congratulations on all your success. I mean, you said a lot of things that, obviously with an education background, knowing how to vet things out and knowing what to look for, wanting to make sure that your name was connected to something with longevity and not just, just jumping into anything, but understanding that the world is changing. It makes me think about when the internet became a thing and when emails became a thing. And then some people wanted to kind of stay doing what they were already doing. Change sometimes could be a little difficult, but there's some change that's inevitable. All change is inevitable. There are certain things that is not about whether or not you opt in or not. At one point, if you didn't change over to a certain type of television, there was no other option. You had an option for a certain amount of time, then there was no option. Don't wait until there's no option for you to get in position, because you're on the tail end of things. Understand that this is inevitable. It's already happening. If you had any skepticism around it, that's where education comes in at. Don't allow your skepticism to cause you to stay ignorant to the facts. Go get the facts. Go understand where you should be, so you're not taken advantage of. Because the one thing that I can say that Rich University also does very well, it doesn't just help you to be profitable from the knowledge that you learn, but it helps you to be protected from what you don't know. There are certain people that are being taken advantage of because they don't know the red flags. They don't understand. Keep in mind, we offer you education. The education that we offer you just happens to help you to be profitable when you apply it, right? So I'm really excited because you talked about that, and it makes me think about the internet. I know for my parents, when the internet was coming out and becoming a thing, they wanted to kind of stay away from it. But it's inevitable. Now all of them use it. Everybody has a phone, whether they're a baby boomer or throughout all the generations, they're on technology. And so why not be a benefactor of it? So is it anything that you wanted to share? I don't know if you were popping something up on your screen to share.
Absolutely. So it goes back to the whole concept of making sure that you're not shying away from things. And I want to share this article. Hopefully you guys can see this on the screen.
We can.
Okay, awesome. So I popped up an article from fortune.com, which is an incredible source, right?
Yeah.
And in China, they are teaching their 6-year-olds how to learn about AI in the school system as early as 6 years old.
Wow.
The article talks about how China is going to be offering AI in the classrooms and schools in a bid to train the next generation of DeepSeek founders. Wow. And I just thought that this was super impactful, so relevant to us tonight as we're sharing our backgrounds here in education and being a part of this amazing space. It's super important that we're not shying away from, I don't know anything about Bitcoin and I don't want to know anything, or I don't want to know anything about AI. I'm afraid that they're going to take it's time for people to get with the times. I remember, like you said, when, we had the internet, people were afraid of the internet. When we were using DVDs, and then we went to the Blu-ray. Now we don't even have DVD players. Now everything is streaming online. People don't even have cable. They have services where they stream TV. So it's really important that as money is evolving, as things like AI is evolving, we make sure that we get ourselves equipped with the right type of information, and that we do not stay on the sidelines.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is so powerful. Looking at how other countries are positioning their children. What are you doing to position your children? Are you waiting for our educational system to do it for you, the government to do it for you? I can tell you, my son, who's 10 years old, he has all of these apps on his phone. He's so intrigued about this stuff. The world is changing at the speed of thought. So don't allow fear, especially for those of you that are believers. Remember, we are a faith-based community. We focus on faith and finance here, and we show you how they work very well together. Fear is not your portion. You have to make a decision that is no longer you're going to be operating in fear, scared of this and scared of that. No, God did not give you the spirit of fear. You have a sound mind. You are created in the image of God. It's time to move with boldness, clarity, and certainty, right? We have a God that we serve that will guide our steps if you allow him to guide you, if you allow him to, hear the voice that hear his voice and do what he's saying to do. So I'm not in this space, I'll tell you right now, Myrlande, because it made sense to me, nor am I in this space because, I understood everything. But I know when I was making a decision, I heard the voice of the Lord and I obeyed. Obedience is better than sacrifice. And I believe in this season, fear, kick it out of the window. Like cut fear off so you can go and move by faith into the next level. It's just going to be important to me because I just think that things are changing so fast that there's no way that we're going to understand everything. And that's why identifying the community and an environment is going to be so incredibly important. Listen, Myrlande, thank you so much for sharing this. I really appreciate that article. I know what we're doing in our home for our children, and even as an educator that many of us are educating in some capacity. Make sure that you're putting your kids in a position, right? That means imagine you being a part of a community Rich University obviously is the obvious choice. Being a part of a community where the information you learn, you can have different conversations with your children. The first day that we had it, we did entrepreneurship for Industry Week. And one of the young ladies shared that her grandkids are using one of our educators' coloring books. Right? We're talking about digital business. We're talking about digital money, right? You talked about an Etsy store. He has a digital a physical coloring book that he used AI to create that teaches children about cryptocurrency. So what type of things are you doing in your home to introduce this so that your child can have a competitive edge in this time that we're living in? We got to make decisions differently. No more sitting on the sideline. No more scaredy cats. It's time to be aggressive. It's time to be assertive, and it's time to make it happen. Wealth is transferring right before our eyes, and it's time to get in position. So Myrlande, thank you, Queen, for being on. I'm excited about the people that are getting started right now. Drop some fire emojis in the chat if this session has been on fire so far for you and you're gaining great information for it. I apologize. Thank you so much, Myrlande. It kind of popped you down quickly. Thank you, Queen. You served so well. You served so well, and I really appreciate you being on with us. Thank you so much. Any final remarks?
I just gotta say, come get rich with us because you are absolutely going to love it here.
Yes, 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 they are. Thank you so much, Queen. I really appreciate you, and congratulations again on all of your success.
Thank you.
Awesome sauce. Listen, guys, I'm still excited. We have more guest speakers that you are going to have an opportunity to hear from. I know for me, I'm a visual learner, so I want to take a moment and I want to just share my slides really quick to have some conversation with you about some of the things that is happening inside of this space. Hopefully you can see my screen well. Let me just dive into this conversation right quick about how we are bringing this together. You guys heard both the Boss Chick and Myrlande as educators talk about the importance of them being a part of something sound and solid. Well, we have a system in place here in Rich University, and systems save you time, energy, and money. All right. We offer you through Rich University the community and the mentorship, and we partner with the #1 company in the world for the education and the AI and the platform. Because we are a faith-based accredited institution, we can't just partner with anybody. We don't care about what's buzzing in the street. A lot of buzzes come and then they go away, and every 6 months they're on to something new and on to something new. My name is very important to me. My reputation is very important to me. I know who I represent, so I got to make sound decisions with sound judgment. In doing that, I decided to partner with the #1 company in the world that really helps so many people in our community to even know about the largest financial markets like foreign exchange and digital currency. And so Eovia is our partner company. It provides education tools and opportunities for the modern world. The word Eovia itself is actually a very powerful word. It means and symbolizes the path to greatness. So the Eo of the word is a Japanese word that means greatness, and then the Via of the word is a Latin word that means path or way. And essentially our goal tonight is to help you to get to the right side of the wealth transfer. Let me know if you guys are familiar with a gentleman by the name of Robert Kiyosaki. Drop fire emojis in the chat, drop 777s in the chat, or drop diamonds in the chat. Or if you are familiar with Robert Kiyosaki, he's an economist, best-selling author. He created a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Many of you may have had an opportunity to read. So this gentleman created something called the cash flow quadrant. And I want to break this down to you. And I believe this is probably going to be one of the most important slides that you see. I want you to currently identify where you are, right? As I break this down, because remember, we want to help you to get to the right side of money. And I know that most of the world's population is on the left side of money because our educational system has taught us to go to school, get a good education so you can get a good job. Now, I am big on education. I'm not down on education. I'm just up on opportunity. I want to make sure that the education that you are getting, by the time it's time for you to apply it, that these industries are still relevant. Not only is AI technology eliminating departments, they're eliminating industries. And so we have to learn differently. And one of the things you have to do is unlearn so that you can relearn and be relevant. So on the left side of money is 95% of the world's population, but only 5% of the world's wealth is there. These individuals make up your employees and those that are self-employed. Now, when I look at this, I think about employees as people who work for a system. Once again, there's nothing wrong with any of these categories because depending on your education that you receive determine where you landed. Does that make sense? So employees are people who work for a system. Those that are self-employed are people who work for money. Okay. I spent quite a bit of my adult life in this category as a hairstylist. But I can tell you, even the doctors and lawyers are in this category because typically those that are self-employed, if they don't show up, they don't get paid. So as a hairstylist, if I didn't show up to do my client's hair, I didn't get paid. It's as simple as that. But if the surgeon doesn't show up to do the surgery, the surgeon doesn't get paid either. And if the attorney doesn't take the case, the attorney doesn't get paid. And so my goal tonight is to get you to the right side of the wealth of this quadrant. So I want you to comment in the chat right now, right side of money. Right side of money. Rich University is teaching you how to get to the right side of money. When anybody asks you, why did you get started? Listen, I knew I had to learn differently. I needed to be around affluent women and men of faith that understood finances, not just through conversation purposes, but because of their execution, right? They had a track record of winning, and I wanted to be a part of the winning team. And so when you get to the right side of money, here is where 95% of the world's wealth is, but only 5% of the world's population. This is where business owners are, and there is a systemic way to accumulate wealth. Number one, you got to start a business. Some people think, well, I'm not business minded. I'm not business savvy because you weren't taught to be business minded. You weren't taught to be business savvy. If you were taught to be business minded and business savvy, then who was going to work for your business? Does that make sense? So everybody was not taught the same thing. The only reason that most people don't know this information is because they simply were not taught. And what I'm saying to you is that Rich University wants to provide you an opportunity for you to be taught this information. Does that make sense? We want to teach you how to get to the right side of money. We want to teach you how to be successful at building successful businesses. What type of business do you think would make the most sense for you to start in 2025? I want you guys to just comment in the chat. Let me know what you're thinking. What type of businesses, I want to engage for a moment, do you believe would be the best type of business for you to start in 2025? Because some people make emotional decisions about business. I don't want you to start a passion project that you want to be profitable from. If you're going to start a passion project, I don't want you to expect immediate profitability. If it takes a while for it to pop, no problem, because you're just doing that because it's a passion project. A lot of people who think that they're in business really have passion projects, and you can tell because there's no profitability, perhaps because they didn't do their due diligence to identify what's in high demand. Does that make sense? What's in high demand? Right now, AI technology is in high demand. What's in high demand? People want to learn about cryptocurrency is in high demand. What's in high demand? People want to find more ways to make money from home is in high demand. Hello? What's in high demand? You know, people understand that they want to monetize the time that they're spending on social media. They don't want to just spend time on social media endlessly scrolling. They want to make money from the time that they're spending on social media. Does that make sense? So these are the things that people are already looking for. They want to learn how to market. So when you understand that that is what we provide inside of this platform with our partnership with Eovia, it becomes a no-brainer that you first start a business. Somebody comment in the chat. First, start a business. Because when you get connected to Rich University, there's a lot of phenomenal testimonies and results about the success that people have inside of this community because they applied themselves. But if you don't have no money, you can't invest. You want to invest disposable income. So you first start a business, you take the capital from the business, and then you start investing. Does that make sense? So Robert Kiyosaki did a phenomenal job at breaking down this cash flow quadrant, and we decided to just adopt his philosophy in Rich University. You know, the opportunity that's at hand for you right now is for you to gain the chance to franchise a billion-dollar tech company. That's what we're really talking about. An opportunity for you to franchise a billion-dollar tech company. And when you franchise this billion-dollar tech company, it puts you in a position now to have something similar to a McDonald's. right? McDonald's is a major conglomerate. But if you don't have $1.4 to $2.7 million to franchise a McDonald's, then that's not a conversation that you can have. What if you could franchise a company that you only was based, you were buying the system, right? You didn't have to create the products and do all of the things, similar to Amazon. Amazon is $1 billion company, yet it's selling products that it didn't even create. Think about that for a second. Amazon sells everything from A to Z. How many of the products that is sold on Amazon actually created? Not many. Maybe the Echo, right? Or is it Alexa? One of those. All of the products that's coming to your door every day, it's not that they created it. They are selling to you products that somebody else created. Inside of Eovia, we're selling to you done for you digital products. So it's even better because guess what? We don't have to worry about tariffs. Okay. And then Kai Cenat is a gentleman who is streaming, and he's basically showing up, leveraging social media, and he has a subscription-based model. People are paying him to just show up. What if you got paid a subscription for showing up authentically to be you and being able to learn how to do this? How many of you have Amazon Prime? You're paying a subscription for that. You got Netflix, you're paying a subscription for that. So we know that these business models still work in 2025. McDonald's, Amazon, and even subscription-based models like Kai Cenat is using. And we want to put you in a position to leverage Eovia's platform to have done for you digital products that are in high demand that you are promoting with a company that has a sound reputation and has been around literally for more than a decade. You don't have to worry about every 6 months hopping from one thing to the next, straggling along your community with you that's now starting to question your credibility. We offer you AI technology education, financial markets education, cryptocurrency education, digital marketing and e-commerce education. These are not just buzzwords. These are opportunities for you to win. And so you have to ask yourself, are you evolving at the same pace as the world around you? We even have our incredible nightclub that happens every Monday night and Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You don't want to miss this. We give you an opportunity to come and get pipsy with us and not tipsy in the nightclub. The nightclub is hosted by my incredible husband, Dr. Andre Logic Mix, alongside his co-host, Dr. Claude Curry and Dr. Yarnell Russell. Listen, this is such a vibe. If you want to be a part of a community where you can literally see some money move in the market, they are trading live in real time. You literally see the movement of money in the market. And it's so fascinating because honestly, I believe a fifth grader, as it relates to the understanding level, could understand this. I believe they should be teaching children this type of information in the fifth grade. So I'm really excited about this. Now we have additional educational avenues for you, whether you want to learn about foreign exchange, stocks and crypto, digital marketing. I believe everybody needs personal development because one of the reasons that most people have not really put themselves in a position of power is because they don't have the right mindset. Maybe they're around people who don't have conversations about things like this. And so this is going to be powerful. And then once you're learning these skills of how to move money in the market, and once you're learning or how money moves in the markets, and then now you have access to, stocks and crypto, the next thing you probably going to want to do is start to see the world. So we offer you a phenomenal opportunity to have discounts on things like hotels and rental cars and cruises and condos, where you can go to places like Paris, France for a week for $999. I mean, that's absolutely amazing, right? So ultimately, what we provide to you is an opportunity to learn from anywhere at any time, strategies and scanners that leverage AI technology, as well as exclusive travel discounts and benefits. And we have a robust compensation plan. Any business-minded people out there, drop some B's in the chat. You're business minded. You're someone who understands group economics. You see this TikTok shop thing is really blowing up and people are making money selling other people's products just by getting online and leveraging these platforms. Just drop 777s in the chat if you're seeing this. Well, we give you an opportunity to do something similar where you can basically have access to your own franchise where you're promoting done for you digital products that are in high demand. And when you have a team of 5 people, you get an extra $300 a month in residual income. I said residual income, not the bonuses. Every single month is coming. Listen, you can build a business of longevity. You don't have to worry about an income of this month, one amount, and then the next month, you don't know what it's going to be, or rather week by week, because we get paid out every single Friday. Somebody say payday Friday, okay? Residual income, just like your bills are residual. So when you have a team of 5, you're making $300 a month in residual income. When that 5 grows to 10, you're making $600 a month, but you're paid out every single Friday. When the 10 grows to 23, $1,000 a month. When the 23 grows to 58, that's $2,000. Remember, you're being paid out every Friday. When the 58 grows to 140, that's $4,000. And when a 140 grows to 270, that's $7,000. Now listen, you do not have to do this alone. You're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. When you grow a team to 270, maybe you got 20 people that said yes to you, but the people who joined you, guess what they did? They were excited too. They heard everything that was going on in current news. People started to ask, and now they had a place that they could direct people to. So listen, you don't have to do this by yourself. This is group economics, collective efforts. And look at the people who are accomplishing these goals and are being able to experience this, that are hitting these positions in these ranks. I'm excited to invite you to come and get rich with us. And my question is, are you the one? Are you the one of your family bloodline that's going to shift things, the financial trajectory? Are you going to be the one that's going to bring this back and be the reason that your family is able to say this land that we were able to buy, right? Because we got in at the right time, connected with the right people, made the right decisions, right? Applied ourselves. Now we were able to be at the forefront of this wealth transfer versus the person that said, yeah, I heard about it. I heard about this. You hear about a lot of things, but when was the last time you took action? Action takers are money makers. So what does it cost to get started? It's a no-brainer for me. It's a 3-figure decision. Countries are moving billions of dollars inside this space. This is the big boy, big girl game. And you telling me for only $249? $249 allows you access. You can get the foreign exchange package, the stocks and crypto package, or digital marketing. 4 weeks later, you will pay only $184 a month to continue your access. But I much rather this bundle here. The Transform bundle actually gives you an opportunity to have 2 packages, right? You can choose foreign exchange plus and stocks and crypto, or stocks and crypto and digital marketing. You can customize it however you like. And when you get 2, you automatically get 2 more complimentary. That means when you choose whichever 2 you like, automatically you're going to get personal development. Remember, I said everybody needs their mindset to be shifted. You're going to get personal development and Eovia Go. That's where you get the hotels, the rental cars, the cruises with a complimentary discounted rate. And then after 12 months of being a member, you and a significant other get a rewards trip. You heard me correctly. You get a rewards trip where you and a significant other get to go to places like Bali or Abu Dhabi or Spain. How would you like that? How much more excited would your family be to know that they get to travel around the world with you for your efforts? This is what you should be doing. $274 one time. Somebody say tonight, when you get started tonight. Why? Because you're a decision maker. Why? Because you're tired of being on the wrong side of money. Why? Because you need to be connected with the right community. $274 one time, and then $249 a month 4 weeks later gives you access. And if the $249 a month makes you a little uncomfortable, no worries. What if you had access to a monthly subscription that was completely complimentary? That means you pay $274 tonight. 4 weeks later, you have no subscription. Why? Because you invited 2 people to the community that saw value. They got started because of you, and you got the credit. That's absolutely amazing. Listen, with that being said, I'm super duper excited for you. I'm so happy that you had a chance to see this information. And I know you're about ready to make a decision, but I want to give you an opportunity to hear from our final speaker tonight, a woman who I'm extremely excited about and proud of because she's doing some incredible things inside the education space. Hey, Jay, how are you, Queen?
Hey, Dr. Chyna, I'm blessed. How about yourself?
Super duper excited. I'm doing amazing, and I'm excited about you, your experience, and just what's happening with you. So come on and share with us a little bit about who you are and why did you say yes to Rich University?
Okay, well, I am a mom of 3, a wife. I'm a successful entrepreneur. I'm an author, and I'm a first grade teacher currently. I do a lot. I wear so many hats. I keep myself pretty busy. I started the chapter of Teachers Who Pray at my site at the school I'm president. I'm also the lead director of the Sisterhood Mentoring Organization, where we mentor girls from 11 through 18.
Nice.
I'm a mocha mom. I'm an author, as I said. We have a book that will be coming out next week, actually. So we're doing pre-orders now. My daughter is both in it, and my mom. I'm a co-author in that book. It's a daily devotional for a letter to God. It's called Dear God. And I'm an educational consultant. I love early childhood education. I love education, period. I'm educational consultant for relationship-based caregiving, for homeschooling families, for parents who want to provide an well-balanced educational, holistic approach to their upbringing of their infants and toddlers, and more. So that's a little bit about me.
That's amazing. You're doing a lot of incredible things. We salute you and celebrate you for your contribution, just in education as well as in ministry. And we appreciate even what you're doing with the book and the impact and just your joy toward it. You know, for someone that's so committed to education, why did you say yes to Rich University? What was it about the platform that made you decide to get started?
You know what? I love learning. I believe learning is huge. And I'm a forever learner. And so when I was introduced to the community, it was during the end of COVID. We went back to work. I believe that was 2020 or 21. And my cousin actually introduced me to the community. He introduced my mom first. I was thinking about, so I was about to begin getting my license for securities license, and me and my best friend, we were about to take that plunge, and he was telling my mom about Rich University, and I was like, no, I'm good, I'm already over here. And then my mom was like, you should just listen, jump on a meeting. And I did. I fell in love with it. I'm like, oh yeah, no, I want to go this route. So
my goodness, wow.
Yeah, my best friend DQ and I both jumped over to Rich University, and my mom signed up first, and then obviously, and so then she pulled me in, and I was like, I feel like it's the right fit for me. It's a faith-based community. You, our CEO, you are amazing. I believe God is leading you in an amazing way, and I just believe blessed by association. I had some times in my life where things got a little rocky, and I stay faithful, I stay committed, and it's because I know that God has something bigger and better, and no matter what, you always pour into us. And so this community has been a huge blessing for me and my family, and I want to share it. I literally share this with everyone. When I say that when I first got started, I was teaching second grade. I taught my students how to trade and they were so excited about it. Like, we put it on the board and I taught them red means sell, green means buy. And they were like, Miss Jackson is buying. I'm like, yeah, okay. It was awesome. My daughters have learned. Michaela and Mackenzie my daughter is 5th grade and my other is a senior. She's graduating this year. And both of them are, this past summer, Michaela was trading better than me. Like, it was amazing. So, and Mackenzie is, she's also learned. She got on Eovia and went through all the class in the series.
Wow.
Language. And so, they're excited about it, and they see that, and they'll be excited about what you're excited about. So I want to be a good model for them. So.
That is so beautiful. I think, when we think about that next generation and that we get to pass the baton to them of knowledge and access and not debt, and pain and trauma, is so beautiful to me, because the next generation definitely gets it as well. Your high school daughter, or the one that just graduated, she's graduating this year.
Yes, in May.
Yes, she's graduating in May. I mean, that's beautiful for her to be exposed to something like this. And it goes back to that cash flow quadrant. One of the reasons that most people do what they do right now, specifically the ones that don't enjoy what they're doing, you really enjoy what you're doing. So it's a blessing that you're operating in your purpose and in your calling. But look at how, just the fruitfulness of your joy, how it allows your heart to even be open to something that could be a blessing to your daughter. Now she's exposed to an industry perhaps perhaps that she would have never known about, or maybe it would have been foreign to her. I get we're talking about foreign currencies, but who doesn't want to have a money conversation? Who doesn't want to learn about the movement of money? Essentially, that's what we're doing. So if you don't like to learn in 2025, it's going to get dangerous. And even the more, who don't want to learn about money? Like, you know, and the nuances of it, because that's essentially what you have an opportunity to do by default. If you start to apply yourself, I mean, you might just have get on the right session. Like, we're about to hop on a session right now with the number 7 cryptocurrency educator in the world. Okay. And we allow our community to invite guests to get back there so that they can see this stuff. And we're going to be breaking down what's going on with cryptocurrency. I mean, some of these coins right now are a penny. Not every coin is $90,000 or thousands of dollars. Some of them are 20 cents or $2. What if you could strategically get in a position with a project that has real utility that could position you to be on the right side of the wealth transfer? So listen, Jay, thank you so much, Queen, for coming. Thank you for being on. Thank you for serving. Thank you for your commitment, your consistency, and your diligence. I'm super duper excited that you decided to come and get rich with us. And I know that you love it here.
Yes, I do. I totally do. And I just want to say that you must be business savvy. I'm setting my students and my kids up to be business savvy, because I know that they have to have multiple streams of income. I want to set them up for generational wealth. I actually also, my husband is also now involved. And
that blesses my heart. This is amazing.
And the strategies that he's like, no, we need to teach. We have a 21-year-old son in college, and he's like, no, he needs to come aboard because this is something we could pass down. And these are skills and strategy that they can really set them up for the future. And we want that. We want that I don't just want that for my family. I want that for my extended family, as well as the families that I teach, the families that I work with. I talk to some of the students. I have a student in the classroom who has a bigger brother who is in college, or he's taking community classes. And I was talking to him about it, trying to get him to come aboard as well. And so, you know, sharing opportunity is just sharing that wealth and knowledge. It's time for us to not be on the other side of the wealth transfer. We need to be right along with everyone else. I don't want our culture to be left out, like you said, or slow to get the gains or the benefits from this move of the wealth transfer. I want them to be right on board. So
absolutely.
You guys need to come and sign up. Be a part of this. You'll love it. You'll definitely love it here.
Thank you so much for your testimony, Jay. I mean, the confidence to share it, you know, with your parents and your spouse and your children, that says a lot to me. And it really does warm my heart. I give all glory to God, and I thank him for the assignment, the call, and the strategy, because it's not just the assignment. Many times we know that we're assigned to something, but staying in his presence on what the strategy looks like. There were many times where I thought I was going to pivot or do this or do that. And I stayed in the will of God and in his presence, and things are starting to fall into place in ways that I could not have even imagined. He never shows us the full picture. He only gives us step-by-step things. So it requires us to need him more. And I love that, because I could not have imagined that the assignment was going to already be this big. You just don't know what it looks like. And so it's these testimonies that bless me to know that other families could do the same thing. Their moms could bring them in. They can bring their spouses and their children in, share with this is what it's about, impacting nations and generations around the world. So you are truly an example of that, Jay. I appreciate you. I salute you. I love you, Queen. Thank you for being the best part of Rich University.
Oh, thank you. Love you too.
And I see your Rich University pin on. You guys have been coming in. I just love for hearing this information. And this is the type of community that you know you want to be a part of. Come and get rich with us. You are absolutely going to love it here. All you need to do now is get back with the person that invited you to this session. They may have shared it with you on their social media page on Facebook. They may have a link that's right there at the top. All you got to do is click that link, select whatever package makes the most sense for you. They're going to then go ahead and walk you through the onboarding process. You're going to have access to our virtual campus. Rich University has a virtual campus, so it doesn't matter where in the world you are. We're all over the world. People are here with us in South Africa, in Europe, in Canada, all throughout the Caribbean islands, all over the world. So we invite you to get started. Don't miss this next next wave of cryptocurrency or digital marketing or e-commerce or even financial markets, now is the time to get in position. Now, for all of those of you who are members that are watching live, we got a session to get on right now with Curtis Cobain. Y'all get ready because I'm telling you, this crypto challenge, we are not playing with it. We got to make sure that 2025 is the absolute best year of your life. Congratulations to everybody who gets started right away. They can catch that session. So get the link quickly so you can get on the inside. God bless you guys. We'll see you soon. Bye for now. Thank you so much, Jay, for being on. I appreciate you, Queen. God bless you guys. Thanks so much for being on. Get back with the person who invited you. They have a very unique link. Choose the package that makes the most sense for you. Get started, and we'll see you on the inside. Bye for now. We'll see you back tomorrow here for day number 4 of Industry Week. Bye.
Let me show you how much the United States spends on its military. Over here you've got Russia, China, India, and other big military powers. And yet, if you combine them all into one, the US still spends more than the next 10 countries combined. But I'm interested in what happens inside of this circle. Like, what are we spending our money on? In here, we'll see everything that the military spends their money on, from salaries for soldiers to elementary schools for their children. We'll see the $21 million helicopters and these missiles that cost $1.6 million each. And we'll see how much the Pentagon spends on the development of new weapons, new technology, like these ship-based laser weapons. And of course, the most expensive of all, the F-35 fighter jet that will end up costing the taxpayers $2 trillion. We even made a little model of this guy. And like the real thing, the model is continually breaking down. Oh, okay, here we go.
The door thing is really hard to put in.
Yeah. Of all the money our Congress budgets to run our government on any given year, almost half of it goes to the military. Here you've got education, and there's diplomacy and health science, energy, environment. We've been deep in the spreadsheets and the data. Luckily, all of this stuff is pretty public and open to scrutiny, with the goal of visualizing all of this, trying to understand where the money goes, to understand why the US spends so much more than any other country on its military. And most important of all, to try to answer the question of whether all of this money actually makes us safer.
Almost all of our witnesses before the Armed Services Committee tell us that we are in the most dangerous global threat security since
2023. It's how they planned to spend money that year. It turns out that how much they spend on defense is pretty complicated and depends a lot on who you ask. So go to the sources. You can see how we got all these numbers and what decisions we made. The total number we got was $853 billion. That's more than the entire economy of Switzerland. Let's take a brain break because I want to talk about another kind of budget, an annoying part of my personal budget, which is subscriptions. You know what I'm talking about. We all subscribe to things that every month charge us a little bit of money, not enough for us to pay attention to it, but enough to add up over time. There's a lot of companies whose main business model is hoping that you'll sign up for something and then forget that you signed up so that they can charge you every month. This is super annoying and really hard to keep track of. Luckily, there's a solution, and that solution is Rocket Money, who is the sponsor of today's video. You give Rocket Money access to your bank feed, and it fishes out all the reoccurring subscriptions that you're paying for. It lets you see them all in one place, and you can easily just cancel them. I recently found that I have been subscribed to all of these local newspapers that I subscribe to because I need to read a story like in some other country, and like I subscribe and then I forget about it, and it's only like $3 a month, but it adds up. I'm subscribed to tons of these and I didn't know. But with Rocket Money, you can see it all in one place. It's so easy. It also saves me time in going through the often cumbersome process of trying to cancel these subscriptions. And one other thing, which is that they will help you negotiate your bills to be lower. Like, for example, a lot of us are paying too much for internet. We could get a lower rate on our monthly internet bill. Rocket Money knows this, and they know how to get that number down if it's possible. So it's subscription cancellations, it's negotiating your bill down, and it will just analyze your finances and pull out trends and insights that it sees within your spending habits. You can set budgets, and the app will notify you if you exceed those budgets. So between these three smart features, Rocket Money has saved their customers up to $740 a year. They've processed $500 million in canceled subscriptions. Sort of gives you an idea of like how big of a deal this is. So if you want to save money, you can try this out for free. If you go to the link in my description, it is rocketmoney.com/Johnny Harris. You can get started for free, or you can unlock more features with their premium option. Either way, the whole thing's meant to save you money. So you will come out having saved money if you do this. If you are going to sign up for this, please use my link. If you don't use the link, then Rocket Money won't know if you found them through this. And that's like pretty important to running the business here and doing these videos. Okay, now that I've been talking about my personal budget, let's get back to the budget of the military of the United States. It's a lot, so let's start to break it down. Close to half of all of this money goes to the vague sounding category of operations and maintenance. This is $352 billion that we spend just on O&M. That's like larger than the entire economy of Portugal. Like just to create the report, to get all these numbers assembled in one place, costs the DoD $269,000. But also, credit to the Pentagon and the US government for giving us all of this very clear data that we can shine a light on and scrutinize. A lot of countries aren't this transparent. So anyway, operations and maintenance. This is like all the costs required to keep the Department of Defense, one of the largest organizations in the world, running. It's a lot of not very sexy stuff like transportation, fuel, maintenance of equipment, administrative costs, training expenses. It includes $39 billion just for the doctors and health services for active duty personnel. And it also covers the stuff that you don't really think about when you think of military spending, like environmental cleanup in areas that the military has left unexploded bombs or spilled chemicals in the local environment. It also includes disaster relief and humanitarian money, which is something the military does as well. Here's nearly $1 billion dedicated to anti-drug activities. And here's $10 million for security at international sporting competitions. This huge category also captures the cost to run every one of the US's approximately 1,250 military bases, including the approximately 800 bases that are not in the United States, that are in other countries, which, by the way, are quite expensive to run because the US military has basically created a slice of America in these other countries. You've got Pizza Hut and McDonald's and Subway and grocery stores with products flown from the United States to make military personnel serving abroad feel like they're right at home. Okay, but let's just pause right here on this map because this is a good moment to recognize that the United States military is not a normal army. It is not a normal military. Most militaries are tasked with protecting their country, securing their borders. But the US military is so much more than that. It sprawls out throughout the entire globe, giving the US control over every corner of the planet, allowing the US to be the global policeman, where it enforces the rules and norms of the system that it created and from which it benefits immensely. So one quick answer to this big question of why the United States spends so much more on its military is actually pretty simple, because this is the cost of being the global hegemon, the one who gets to enforce the rules and maintain control over the globe. Okay, but let's keep going on our budget. That's the point of the video. The next big category here is people, military personnel, $172 billion. Pay, benefits, retirement, healthcare for the over 3.4 million soldiers, reservists, and civilian military personnel. By some estimates, the Department of Defense is the largest employer in the world, though it depends on how you count it. The Pentagon also spends a lot of money on recruiting new talent, like the $28 million that they spent on hiring experts who work in artificial intelligence. Next, the military spends $140 billion on research and development. And a reminder, I know that these numbers are abstract and billion doesn't mean anything to anyone, but like $140 billion, that's the entire economy of Morocco that the Pentagon spends on R&D, thinking about the future, with the goal of maintaining technological superiority on the battlefield. Meaning they're working on new tech. It's a huge part of what the Pentagon does. Now, a lot of this stuff is classified, but we do know that the Pentagon is spending money on stuff like AI, using AI to analyze drone footage to improve their targeting capabilities, building autonomous submarines, or these insane military lasers that they use at sea to attack other ships. For years, they've also been trying to develop this exoskeleton that will supercharge the abilities of their soldiers, allow them to carry more weight over long periods of time. Although this technology, while potentially promising, isn't really there yet, but it might be soon. Now, the Pentagon pours a lot of investment into these technologies for the battlefield, but sometimes this tech actually turns into stuff that we use every day, like GPS, drones, voice recognition, the computer mouse, and the internet itself are all technologies that were first developed, at least in part, by the US military.
The World Wide Web, or the web, was created for and by the United States Department of Defense.
Let's quickly look at this smallest of the categories, still $19 billion, but compared to all these other ones, it's pretty small. This is construction, building new facilities, both at home and abroad. Like this little project, $85 million for jet fuel tanks in Japan, supporting force projection in the Pacific. Or it looks like they're proposing $75 million to spend on a new operations support facility in Southern California. And finally, we get to the part of the budget that you probably think about when you think of military spending: procurement. $167 billion, the entire economy of Ethiopia, to purchase all of this. Okay, I've always known the military stuff is expensive, but now I really know it. Let's look at some of this stuff. This jet costs around $142 million. The US bought 77 of them in 2023 and is asking for another $14 billion to buy 83 more this year. And they're pretty spendy to fly too. Look at these 4 cruise missiles parachuting out of a plane. Each one of these missiles costs $1.6 million. Oh, and the American taxpayer bought 600 of them last year. This vehicle costs $372,000. It's used to move troops around the battlefield. Last year, we bought about 3,700 of them, and this year we want another 3,100. $2.8 billion buying 24 of these F-15s. For the Navy, this is going to cost $7.3 billion. $1.2 billion for these 56 Black Hawk helicopters for the Army. $8.2 billion for 3 destroyer-class ships. Probably doing the same thing with those submarines. Fleet replenishment American-class amphibious is going to be about $2.2 billion. I mean, it's a lot. And these are just a few tiny little samples. I'm just scratching the surface. And in fact, this diagram that looks so complex and granular is also highly simplified and condensed. Each one of these categories actually contains billions of tiny little things inside of it. This organization is much bigger than we could ever fathom. And in fact, it's much bigger than the Pentagon itself can even fathom.
The Pentagon has, up until this point in 2024, never successfully passed an audit. American taxpayers want to know how our tax dollars are getting spent. And the fact that the department that's getting such a huge chunk of the federal budget can't account for all of the dollars it's getting is definitely a problem.
For 6 years in a row now, the Pentagon has failed to pass an independent audit. They've brought in a bunch of accountants and said, tell us where all of our stuff is and what we spend our money on. And the accountants say, no, we can't do it. 61% of their physical assets are missing. They don't know where they are, which means they're probably investing a lot of money in stuff that they already have and they just don't know it. But my bigger question here is why? The United States pulled out of Afghanistan a few years ago. The war in Iraq is over. but spending continues to go up. And spending went down for like a split second, but look, it's going up again. Okay, well, first off, remember what we talked about earlier. The US is not a normal country with a regular military. The US is the global hegemon who uses its military to assert control and order over every corner of the globe. But there's another reason why this budget is so high. And this reason is much more infuriating to me. What our little graph here doesn't reveal is that most of this money is going to private corporations who get 466 billion of these dollars, about 54%. And once again, the US government tells us exactly which corporations they give all this money to. We pulled the last 19 years worth of data on these private contractors. At the top of this list, you start to see the same names over and over. Raytheon, General Dynamics, Boeing, Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin. These are the names at the top of these lists year after year. There used to be a lot of different defense contractors, but over the last 3 decades, they got gobbled up by these big 5. Transitioning, from the words of the Pentagon, from 51 to 5 aerospace and defense prime contractors. As a result, the DoD is increasingly reliant on a small number of contractors for critical defense capabilities, i.e., we've got kind of a monopoly issue on our hands. These 5 contractors own the space, and the Pentagon can't really go elsewhere if they need an F-35. There's only one shop in town that makes it. For this reason, the prices can get pretty out of control. Like the Pentagon used to pay $25,000 for this Stinger missile, and now they pay nearly $500,000 for the same missile. The price went up more than 16 times in just a couple decades. It's a little more than inflation.
There's a history of defense contractors overcharging the US government. They can overcharge. If they're the only company producing a certain widget, then there's no competition. And that's one of the problems with monopoly, is if there's not competition, it's easy to overcharge the buyer. In addition, the Inspector General of the Department of Defense has found routinely that there's overcharging through corruption and waste and fraud. And there have been lawsuits. For example, KBR is a contractor that's been used overseas, and they were found to overcharge in dining halls by 30 to 40%.
It's also why a Pentagon inspector realized that the Pentagon was paying Boeing, yes, that Boeing, $3,357 for one ball bearing, a small little piece that the Pentagon could actually get for $15 in their own warehouse. $15.42 to be precise. When the Pentagon does get around to investigating these contractors, they sometimes find that they're taking huge profits, like 40 to 50% profit margins, giving them hundreds and millions of dollars above what they should be making in any kind of typical business environment. And what do they do with all these profits? Well, they pay their executives very well. But this list also tells us what they do. This is a list of how much money these defense contractors spend to influence our lawmakers into spending more money on the military so that these companies can make more money. You can see right here that Lockheed Martin is at the top of the list. So far this year, in this election cycle, Lockheed Martin has spent $2.7 million, split pretty evenly between Democrats and Republicans. This is a number that will continue to go up as we get closer to the election. And it is money spent to cozy up to lawmakers on both sides of the aisle, contributing to their campaigns, bringing them out to show them how great their weapons are, doing whatever they can to make sure that the money keeps flowing to their companies. These companies also benefit from the infamous revolving door. The revolving door is not a literal door, it's a metaphorical door between the Pentagon and the defense corporations, which allows top military leaders like Jim Mattis to serve in the military for decades, retire as a general, and then join the board of General Dynamics, a defense contractor, only to pass through the proverbial door to become the Secretary of Defense under Trump. After which, he passes through the door again to go back onto the board of General Dynamics, bringing with him all of his insider knowledge and government contacts and influence. And no, this is not just Jim Mattis. This is a very normal thing that people do here in DC. One analysis found that in 2022, top defense companies hired 672 employees directly out of the Pentagon to work as lobbyists, board members, and executives. Go check my sources if you want to read more about this. I mean, yes, the revolving door is metaphorical, but it's also pretty physical and literal. I drive on this freeway all the time, and I'm always struck at how close all of this is. Over here is the Pentagon, and over here are all the defense contractors in an area of town literally called Pentagon City.
If there's someone working in government who is deciding on contracts and they have a conversation with someone who's going to receive that contract, the person in the firm can promise a good high-paying job after that government official is out of government. And so the government official then has an incentive to give a generous contract to the contractor because they know they're getting this kind of quid pro quo. They're going to get a high-paying job after they leave government.
And to add insult to injury here, some of the lawmakers who approve the Pentagon's budget own stocks in the defense contracting companies. Like, the lawmakers get richer if we spend more money on defense. No. Why do we do this? Like, this is like classic, basic, simple, like, no, conflict of interest. We should not do this. This is not a thing we should do. But actually owning stocks in these companies is not the biggest way, I think, that our lawmakers are influenced by defense contractors. There's something more subtle going on here that I think is actually the best explanation. And it has to do with this excellent map. This map was assembled by an Air Force veteran and analyst named Christian Sorensen. This map makes it easy to see how contractors intentionally allocate their operations all across the country, spanning dozens of states and political districts. Building all of this stuff means jobs, which people like. So lawmakers are incentivized to keep these contractors making stuff in their district, to provide jobs for their people so they can keep getting elected. It's honestly brilliant. It's smart. This is political engineering. You can see it very clearly with lawmakers like Roger Wicker, a senator from the state of Mississippi. Senator Wicker is a member of the U.S. Senate Committee on Armed Services, which plays a huge role in giving taxpayer money to the Pentagon, which in turn feeds the bottom line of the contractors. Wicker loves the military. You often hear him advocating that we should spend way more on the military.
We need, in the United States, to spend more on defense. It's a necessity.
He writes op-eds in the New York Times calling for more shipbuilding. And when you look at his state, you realize, of course he does. The largest employer in Mississippi is this naval shipyard run by a defense contractor named Huntington Ingalls, which means more jobs and economic stimulus for Wicker's people in his state, which means a better likelihood of being reelected. Now, these defense contractors know that Senator Wicker is an important part of their bottom line. So they contribute huge amounts of money to his campaign to make sure he gets reelected. It's this virtuous cycle between Senator Wicker and the defense contractors that results in us spending more money on things that maybe we don't need to. Senator Wicker's job is to represent the American people. He sits on a committee that is supposed to be looking at our national security as a whole. And yet, thanks to the strategy of these for-profit defense contractors, this lawmaker has way too much incentive to advocate for more military spending, which is exactly what he does. My issue here is less with Senator Wicker or Congressman Mike Rogers, who has the same thing, sits on a committee, gives a bunch of money to the Pentagon, has a state where billions of dollars of defense contract money comes into, takes tons of money from defense contractors for his campaign, gets reelected, continues to approve more money for the Pentagon, etc. My issue is with the system that allows this to happen, that allows the money from our military spending to be used to influence our lawmakers into more military spending. It's so clearly a conflict of interest. And it is this system that has created an environment where there is very little political pushback to the endless ratcheting up of our military budget.
No congressperson wants to be the person who loses jobs in their district. Nobody wants to be the one known as shutting down a plant and people becoming unemployed. And so Lockheed can say, we have to have increased funding of this contract or you will lose jobs. And so that idea that jobs are essential, the Department of Defense spending is essential, really gives the contractor political power.
Let me make one point clear, which is that this isn't all corporate lobbying that contributes to the US spending so much on the military. That would be too lazy of an explanation. We live in a world where there's a well-documented paradox that explains that strong militaries are actually the key ingredient to avoiding conflict, in deterring an enemy from attacking, keeping a balance between big militaries so that no one attacks.
Partner with the #1 company in the world that really helps so many people